Now we're going to create a series of wall types that we're going to stack. We have already created this wall. Now we're going to create this one, that one, and that one. Let's start from the top, which is parapet, which is essentially everything that we have here. It's just missing the gypsum wall board. So let's go to our Revit. All right. And what we like to do is we're going to pick this wall type, which is what we have. We're going to edit it. We're going to duplicate it, and we're going to call it parapet. Parapet. Stone wall panel is fine. And we say OK. And we're going to edit it. And the only thing we're going to do is we're going to take out the interior gypsum. We're going to take that and delete it. Other than that, we're in good shape. And we say OK. And we say OK. And we draw a one of these wall types, wall. We look for the type that we've created. Scroll all the way up because we call them one. So we call this one parapet, one stone panel. We're going to take the parapet type and we're going to look at it a little bit closer. Let's take a look at it. When we look at it, we can see the stone is on this side. So we've got the stone. We've got the stone is on this side, rigid insulation, airspace, and the stud. And that's it. We're good and we're happy to go. So this one is done. Let us create the next type. All right. The next one is the one at the joist. So that one is everything that we have here minus the stud. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started with that. We're going to start with that one. And we're going to edit type, and we're going to duplicate it, and this time we're going to call it, stone panel, we're going to call it rafter, because it's at the rafter section, and we're happy with it. We say OK, let us edit it, and it doesn't have, at the rafter, it doesn't have the structure either, because the roof rafter is coming butting all the way against the 1-inch airspace. So we delete that section. We're ready to go. So we're happy. We accept. So let's, we have that. So we say architecture, wall. We've got the wall at the parapet. We go ahead and draw a type over here and we look at it closer. And we see that with this one, with the parapet, oh, we did something goofy. Now, this is the one that's parapet. So that's the rafter. This is a parapet. That's the rafter. This is a parapet. So what I actually did is modify that one. Okay. So now I'm going to make another type. Let's come back here. So we made the parapet, we made the joist, we're going to do the foundation. Let's first analyze. I'm going to zoom a little bit closer. And I recognize that I've got all of these layers, but instead of the stud, I have 3.5 inches of concrete, then 1 inch of, half an inch of insulation, which acts as my expansion joint. So let's go back to our Revit. Let's draw a wall. And we can actually, start with either rafter or we can go parapet. I'm going to go rafter. Okay, so it's going to be the skinny one. And then I'm going to edit it. Okay, edit, duplicate, and I'm going to call it floor, right? So I'm going to call it at the floor. You could actually say slab instead of floor. So I'm going to say C slab. It's actually probably more explanatory. C slab. So I say OK. And I start changing. So I'm happy with the finish, rigid insulation, air infiltration. Then I'm going to add, I'm going to be here, insert. And I'm going to down it. And I'm going to, it is structure, so I'm going to leave it as structure. and I'm going to change its typology to concrete. So I like the cast in place, and I'm happy with that. So everything is good. We're good. Cut pattern, we're good. We say OK. We give it thickness 3.5 inches, 3.5. I say OK. I say OK. So that's my concrete wall. Now I'm going to draw another wall, and I'm going to start with that. Actually, let's go with the concrete wall. So it's the one that I called concrete slab. So I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to modify it again, edit, and I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to call it foundation, right? So it's concrete / foundation. I say OK, and I'm going to edit it, and then I'm not sure if I like to have any of these. So I'm going to take out this one. I'm going to take out the rigid insulation. And I'm going to take out the air infiltration for now. I may come back and modify this, but right now I'm going to keep this. And I'm going to change my total wall thickness to 8 inches. And in order to match it later on, I may have to do some alignment. So I'm going to go here. So you go, wait a minute, Nazi, you already had an 8-inch foundation wall. And I say, I know, but I may come back and modify this. So I'm going to leave this guy alone. All right. So essentially, we've got our stackable wall types. This is our variable. And then from the top all the way down, we've got the various types over here. So now we're going to do something different. We're going to go to wall. This time we're going to go all the way down past the curtain walls. Notice the typology changes. Curtain wall, I'm going to go to stacked wall. The only stacked wall that I have here is this one. It doesn't matter. So I'm just going to draw that stack wall. Then I'm going to edit it and modify it. So I'm going to come back here, edit that stacked wall, duplicate it, and I'm going to call it 1 dash, I'm going to call 1 dash stacked stone panel, and I'm going to put the courtyard house. Okay, so I'm happy with it. And now I begin to edit. All right. Right now it has 2 components to it only. So it has a brick and a CMU. I don't want either one of them, but I'm just going to change this one for now. And I'm going to start with I'm going to go all the way up with my stud stone panel. Okay. And I want that to be variable. So actually, I should have done this one to be my stud stone panel. Okay. Then I'm going to go above it with the parapet. All right. Then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to up it. Okay. So I've got the parapet wall, stud. Okay, so after parapet, I need to insert another layer. So I'm going to down it. All right, so I'm going to down it. And after parapet, what do I have? I have the one with the rafter. Okay, so the parapet, I may decide to have it for 2 feet for now. Rafter, for now, I'm going to go 1 foot. This one is variable. So I've got the typical stud. After here, I'm going to stud, insert another one. And I'm going to down it below this. So below the stud, I have the one with the slab. So concrete slab goes here. Then I'm going to insert another one. And then I'm going to change that to foundation, right? So that's this one. And for now, foundation, I'm going to make it 3 feet. I may change it, or maybe 2 feet. And for now, the slab, I'm going to make it 1 foot. I may decide to change it. So I'm going to say OK. Now, preview it in the cross section. So right here, I have my foundation that needs to be different. So I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to pick this part, which is my foundation. And I want my foundation to be offset. So you see this offset? Let's toy with it. But before I toy with it, I'm going to calculate the amount that I may decide to shift it over. So here's my finish. Okay, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inches, and then I have 3.5, so 7.5 inches, right? But I would like to offset it 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to type in 4, see if that helps. So I'm going to offset it 4 and see what happens. And oops, it's going the opposite direction. So I'm going to say -4 and see what happens, or invert it and see what happens. Okay, that didn't work. So I'm going to edit that, pick this one, which is foundation, and see if I have the option of -4 inches. And hopefully I do. And yes, it shifted to the other side. So it's going right underneath the foundation, and it's allowing me to plug my finish. Now I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to say, why is it that all of this is not working? So I'm going to edit this part, and I said, for whatever reason, these are not aligned. So somehow this 3.5 inch is not working. So I'm going to go back here, and I say, I bet you that this is the one that's off. Somehow I need to shift this one back in that direction by 1/2 inch. So either that, or I'm going to come back here, slab, and do -0.5 inches or 0.25 inches. Let's see if it works. -0.25 inches. And let's see if it actually works. And no, it didn't. So when I got there, it made it actually worse. It aligned it this way. So I should have actually changed it to positive. So I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to say 0.25 inches positive, and see if that worked. Yes, it perfectly aligned it. I'm in great shape. So I aligned this one with this and go all the way to the parapet. Now I need to align this one to match this one. So edit. It's this one that I want to go with, which is the rafter one. I need to move it. It appears, in order for me to align it that way, it appears that this edge is aligned here. I need to move it 2 inches. Let's double check, see if I can actually do that. So I'm at the rafter, align it 2 inches, and click or say OK, and it looks perfect. The parapet is perfect. This is perfect. Now these are aligned. The parapet needs to be moved. I think it's 0.25. So edit the parapet, offset 0.25 inches, and I say OK, and I think everything is perfectly aligned. Here's my footing and foundation. Here's the edge for my floor to sit on. Here is my 2 inches of stone, rigid insulation, air space, stud, my interior wall. I go all the way up at the top. Roof rafters come and sit on my structure over here. Additional structure goes above it. This is perfect. I say OK, and I actually go in and I say, let's see if we have created that. Now we have created one stacked stone panel. So when we go architecture 1, and I can go all the way down to this one and literally do this. But I had already done it, which was